We're lucky to have the opportunity to chat with Nancy Paredes today, who's a cruise director with Avalon Waterways, and she sees the travel experience of your clients from a different perspective than you do. Nancy, if there were a few things that you could tell travel agents that would help their clients have a better experience, what would they be?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for supporting my industry, which is river cruising. There's a list I'd like to tell you. First of all, do me a favor. When you're sending anyone to Europe or even sending them to Vancouver, can you remind them to half and half pack, which means if you and I were traveling, half of my stuff would go with in your suitcase and half in my suitcase. As simple as it sounds, you would be amazed how much luggage gets lost, especially Heathrow and Charles de Gaulle. So at least a few days they would have clothing. But I understand selling river cruising, of course, we're the hottest trend in the market. I know the differences. Unfortunately, a lot of clients don't know the differences, and this is where we really rely on you, the travel professional, to help them.
Yeah, it's hard. It is a bit difficult to differentiate the cruising product. So some clients might think they know what they want. You're suggesting that you actually have the conversation about the different experiences.
Yeah, I mean, river cruising is very much different than ocean. It's interesting that in general, everyone can differentiate between product style. Here in river cruising, everyone tends to think we're all the same. And granted, the parameters are somewhat the same. For example, we can only have two sizes of ships, 110 meters, 135, due to locks. The design of ships are somewhat similar. But for me, because you sell it, I have to deliver it, I see some really big differences. I really want you to think about backup plans. I myself, I'm all about the backup plan. Listen, we all want vacations to go wonderfully, but we always know that when you travel, sometimes things don't go exactly as planned. That's okay. When you look at it, you've got to make sure you're going with a company that really has a backup plan. Not trying to scare people, but listen, the reality of it is that hurricanes can happen, tornadoes can happen, low water, high water, no water, lock breaks on a river of Europe, it can happen. So it's really important that you know that if something like this was to happen, that you've got a company that can actually provide without any worry. The whole idea, when you send people on river cruising, they are not supposed to stress. They're supposed to simply sit back and enjoy. Join the structured program. Don't join the structured program. It's their vacation. But if something should happen that's out of their control, that's when they don't have to worry about it. I've got it. And that's a big difference.
You're very Swiss. Well, not that you are particularly, but the company itself and the way you speak about the planning and the arrangements and the delivery of the product.
I love working for a Swiss company. And when it comes to river ships, I'd like to have every river ship think Swiss. I'm not about the gadgets and gimmicks. I'm about functionality and precision. I always say, how many of you own a watch? Do you buy it? Do you buy a Swiss watch because of gadgets and gimmicks? No. You buy it because it's really precision and also functional. I need a river ship. As a cruise director, I need my ship to be functional. I have a job to do, and granted, the gadgets look great. I mean, I love the catalogs showing you always sunny days in Europe. I wish. I need it to be functional to the point that I can do my job. And so some things that look really good in a magazine,
not going to use them really.
No, you're not going to use a lot of the gadgets. Again, it brings them into the office, but this is when you really need to talk to them, see what they're interested in. And please don't get starstruck by amenities that look good that are not going to be actually enhancing the product. River cruising is about the destination. Yeah. I know that they're putting all sorts of stuff on ships. To be honest with you, we don't really want you to stay in the ship so much. You've got Vienna or Paris or Budapest, second most beautiful city in the world. At least in Europe. But you want them to see that. So again, good design of a ship, functionality of a ship, and a backup plan. And I am just all about a backup plan. I want this vacation to go well. You want it to go to your client well because you want repeat business. And so in order to garner repeat business, you need to get their expectations in line to what we're offering.
Yeah. And I know you also have some relatively new destinations you're offering as well that you've been blown away by having that experience.
I am asking all of you, I'm telling you to beg, borrow, steal, and spend your children's inheritance. Yeah? Listen, I just did the Mekong and the Irrawaddy. And forget I worked for Avalon particularly. Just in general, those are where the true travelers are. The true travelers used to be in Europe from between 2001 and 2006. They've all moved to Asia. It would benefit all the travel agents to start learning about Asia. This is where they are, and it's going to continue. Asia's going to build. But here's the one thing I want you all to know. Do not bother selling them a ship that has over 40 people. The reason is because the Irrawaddy and the Mekong, a ship that has over 40 simply cannot go through, you can't see the whole destination. On the Mekong, if your ship's over 40, you miss the most impressive day, and that's going through the canal. I love that day.
Yeah.
And on the upper Irrawaddy, you have to have a ship under 40, or else you're not going to see the last pristine river of the world. You've got 5 years. You have 5 years to go from, look, everybody goes Bagan, home of 7,000 pagodas, to Mandalay. But to me, the most impressive part of this cruise was from Mandalay up to Blamo. I saw places that Westerners really haven't touched at this point. And you know what? I am forever, every day, I am so grateful to have experienced that. You know, travel is not only educational, it heals you, it shows you things that you didn't even know existed, it teaches you about compassion.
Yeah.
And I really loved visiting the schools, and I loved visiting the elephant camp. We got to feed the elephants in Burma are unemployed because they're no longer allowed to log teak wood. So we've actually adopted an elephant camp. We don't ride them, we simply get to have interaction with them. And if I could have stolen a baby elephant, he'd be with us right here.
Baby.
The minute that little trunk ended up landing on my collarbone and going across my body, leaving a trail of snot, I was so in love. Oh! But really, Asia, this is where the true traveler is going. I said it 5 years ago. I'm telling you now, learn about Asia. There's so much. It's so fascinating. It's safe. I know that people have a little bit of concerns about terrorism. Listen, things can happen around the world. You know, it's interesting. I have people say, I don't want to go to Europe because it's unsafe. To be honest with you, I feel safer in Europe than I do in North America. No offense, and I am from North America. I always say, if you want to be scared, read the travel warnings for the Europeans for North America. Not so much Canada, but for America, US, you wouldn't come. So it's just a matter of being safe. But there's still lovely, wonderful destinations to be had. And so we're counting on you to know the difference and really make sure you vet your clientele. I'm sure a majority of you do. But, you know, if you want them to come back, and I can tell you, for at least my company, we want them to come back also. We don't want to do it just one time. There's a lot of places in the world. My favorite saying is travel is the one investment that will always make you richer.
That's so true.
And I've seen it not only make people richer, but heal them, educate them, and give them experiences they'll be ever changed for.
And we all know we're lucky to be in this industry, and it's why we
are.
stay in it. It's fantastic. Thanks so much for visiting us today.
Thank you,
Thanks,
and
Nancy.
thank you for supporting travel.